All right, I think we are alive. Good morning for me, for my Australian friends. Good evening for everybody in the United States. And today I'm very excited to to have a chat with Lyndah Wells regarding her amazing skills with off-camera flash, that including lots of you know, what I would say difficult scenarios, like during how would you shoot a sunset or golden hours on the beach? And it's not what's amazed me is that she's not only using one light, she's actually using two lights. So it's something I am personally excited because usually I just try to get the job done quickly. I only use one light. It will be quick. It will be so good, and to learn something new. I guess learn something new every single day, right? From Lyndah Wells. She is an amazing photographer who actually got multiple international awards, including WPPI, Fearless Awards, ISPWP, and the Couples Choice Awards of 2019. Without any further ado, I'll just let her to take over and talk. Do you want to talk about, introduce about yourself and your location and your business? And
okay.
Yeah.
So thank you, Aries. My name's Lyndah Wells. I'm so pleased to be here. I am a wedding and portrait photographer based here in the beautiful Bahamas. And I have been a photographer here now for 10 years. I sort of became a pro in 2010. I primarily shoot weddings and portraits. And I'm really excited to just share what I do. The Bahamas is surrounded by this beautiful, water, and we have these most amazing sunsets. So in all my work, whether it's either in my wedding work or my portrait work, I do try and take advantage of that. And I think that also comes from my background in design. I do sort of like to show the landscape as well, the environment, not just like the subjects. Yeah, so that's kind of it.
Someone needs you to know, Lyndah, you are so cute.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. So
that's our friend from Japan. Ohayo, Kojima.
Good morning.
Morning. All right. Should we jump into the talk?
Yes. I see somebody from the Bahamas as well, Vaughn.
Hello, Vaughn. How are you?
Excellent.
Great. Let's all right.
Yeah. So I think I've been shooting just because of where we are. I don't think twice now about shooting at the beach or shooting in low light. I originally, when I started, I was a little bit afraid actually of off-camera flash when I started. And I remember a very good friend of mine was trying to get me to use flash, and I was just like, no. And then sort of after a while, when I realized my limitations, especially with wedding work, where you would have to go into the reception, at night, and I would be struggling. I was like, okay, now is the time to invest in some gear. So yes, so now it's almost I don't really think about it. I kind of have my go-to equipment and just setting up, and I kind of always pre-envision what I want to shoot. So should I start, Aries? Should I?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so today I just wanted to share a little bit about how I create bold, strong, dramatic portraits with the AD300Pro. And thank you very much. And so I want to say first, thank you to you, Aries and Godox, for providing me with my AD300s. I really have just been exploring with them since I received them. Now I am a Godox shooter. I've been you know, I've had my AD200s for years now, and I also have, you know, the V1s, and I use them all the time. I have multiple those. So when I got the AD300s, I was just like, right, let me go out there, let me see what I can create. And for me, they were just perfect, because just that amount of light in that small compact size. I frequently travel between islands, you know, and I try and keep my gear with me as much as possible, because the planes here are very small. I don't like to check. I never check my gear in, so I like to keep them with me. So that size was just perfect, and the power output for them, the 300 watts, was just it just hits that sweet spot for me. So for this particular shoot that I'm going to talk about first, it was a client that specifically asked for a nighttime session, and you know, for me, I was just like, yes, bring it on. You know, I wanted to kind of flex my muscles. Okay, yes, let me use the AD300s. Let me see what they can do. So she asked for this nighttime shoot, and I'm going to just go through the slides. I've already introduced myself and talked about my gear. So this was...
Lyndah, do you want to go back to the previous page? I just want to make sure everybody see. Guys, if you want to take a photo now, that's the time. Because besides her portrait work, she is an amazing wedding photographer. The way she does her lighting and, you know, especially mixed with sunlight, harsh lights, is amazing. We obviously need to focus on, you know, nighttime session and a bit portrait session this week. But if you guys follow her in her Instagram, you will see lots of amazing work. Her style of lighting can be applied in the portrait, or, you know, whatever, you know, with a beach sunset session, obviously. But the way she leads can be applied in other scenarios, especially in the wedding. Her work is amazing, guys. Just check her out. Yeah, just want to make sure people follow your social media. That's all.
Yeah, so this is like my website. It's my name, Lyndah Wells, and my Instagram, Lyndah Wells Photography, and my new YouTube channel, which is Lyndah Wells as well, Lyndah Wells Photography. So this is my kit that I'm using now, and this is what kind of I'll be talking about, like just the 300s I'll be talking about. So I've kind of upgraded now, and I have now some modifiers that I can play with, and they, you know, they give me different type of lighting in different scenarios. So, you know, the umbrella and the octabox and the softbox as well. So for the first session, this was exactly how the beach looked when we arrived. It was about 6:30 p.m. I knew, you can see the sun is just about to set. So of course, the first thing that you do is, you know, you expose for the ambient. So this was the shot that I was pretty happy with how the sunset looked. And I'm shooting with my Nikon, D850, in case anybody wants to know. So the first thing I do, of course, is I place in my client with no flash, because I'm still, you know, building up the light. So, and my process is definitely to build up the light rather than, you know, take away the light. That's what I like to do. So I place the client in there, and then I put in a strobe, one strobe on the left-hand side. This is the AD300 is on the left-hand side with the S28 softbox that's lighting her right there. And I'm still not quite happy, because if you can look on the right hand side of her face, it's a little bit in darkness, and I didn't want that. I wanted her to be sort of fully lit, but still balanced with that ambient light. So the next thing I did was I added a second light on the right hand side. That was my AD200. And so by the time I took a photo of her that I was happy with, you know, you can see this is it. And it's very, I like the fact that I'm trying to get everything right in camera, right? I don't want to do too much post. So when I was really happy with the way this looked, there wasn't a lot of spill, which was great. The focus is really on her. And of course, the sunset is just an amazing backdrop. So that was how this is sort of within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the shoot. This is the very beginning of the shoot, getting her warmed up. And also when I shoot as well, I like to shoot with, to start with my longer lens. I find that especially when it's not a model, these are real actual paying clients. So I'm trying to loosen them up and get them relaxed. I'm playing some music. I always take a speaker out with me, a Bluetooth speaker. I'm playing some music, just trying to get them comfortable. And I'm standing back so that, you know, I'm not right on top of them. So I'm shooting with my 70-200, and that's kind of how I typically start a session, just to let them relax a little bit.
Cool. Lyndah, just a couple questions, because we have a question from Santos. He says he's scared of off-camera flash and he's still learning about the process, right? Would you mind just share how would you, for example, determine your camera setting, like what you did with slide 5, right? You determine your camera setting first, then you add in people, and do you after you adding your portrait in, or your clients in, would you change the camera setting at all?
Once I'm happy with the way it looks, once I add the flash, I'm not changing my setting. The only time I'll change my setting if, of course, it's a sunset, so the light is going to be moving. It's going to be getting darker, increasing. So of course, I'm going to increase the power. But if it's working, then I kind of just leave it as it is. Yeah.
Sure. So I think that answers Santos' question, right? Camera setting is pretty much just for the background. Just make sure you have a beautiful background, and once you have a camera setting there, you're pretty much just leaving there. And you use your flash to lead your subjects, right?
That's right. And you can use your flash simply by moving it, either closer to the subject or further back. And you can feather it as well. Feathering is just turning the flash, the modifier, a little bit at an angle to the subject so that not the full power of the light doesn't fall on them. It feathers off. So those are your options. So instead of you sort of worrying about settings, just concentrate on what the light can do simply, by possibly picking it up and moving it.
Yeah. I love the fact that you're actually building lights one by one, because that's very intuitive, especially for beginners, right? Because you build one light, there's a shadow which was too dark on, over her hair. You just build up second lights and a few lights, so she's not so contrasty, or her shadow details doesn't get lost. And Santo, I hope that actually help and answer your question down there. That's amazing shot.
Thank you. So I'm going to move on to the next slide, because as I mentioned, the light is really like moving.
Sorry, just one last question. Out of my own curiosity, did you use color gel, and what modifiers did you use with AD300Pro?
Okay, so on the AD300 was a gridded S85 white, white with a grid on it. The reason why I used that was because I want that large body of light, but I want the light focused. I don't want a lot of spill on the beach because of these rocks that she's standing on. They're quite reflective. They're white. I don't want that to be, I don't want the eye drawn to the lightest part of the image, which would be, if it caught the rocks. So I used that on my AD300 and on my AD200, which was camera right. I used a mag box, and I used that with a half CTO gel. I do not have Godox gels yet. I'm hoping to get some, but I do not.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I don't have.
Once they announce a new gel, I'll keep you updated.
I
only have the gel for now. I have the gel for the smaller lights, and which was quite handy. But once I announce the bigger gel, I'll keep you updated. I'm a big fan of color gel as well. So
yeah. So that was a really great question you asked, because the reason why I use the half CTO gel is because I'm trying to match that ambient light, that warm light that this sunset is giving. So I knew that if I left the flashes bare, that the light would be definitely more cooler. So I added gel. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
For what's KRTA? I'm not quite following the question. Lyndah, do you
I don't know what.
What? Yeah. Okay. So Sam, you have to clarify your question. Otherwise, we are not able to.
Not able to
understand. Yeah. So what size? Okay. What size Octa is best for wedding?
Okay. What size Octa is best for wedding portraits? Photography 90 or 1 center Octa. For me personally, like I mentioned, I'm a traveling photographer. I can't carry big modifiers, big umbrellas. I've tried that once, and the wind like took this big umbrella. So I prefer to work with small modifiers. So I can work anything up to sort of the S85 is a great modifier. I use my mag box, which is a 24-inch octabox mag softbox that I use, and that is kind of what I take with me. I don't for weddings. I do not use really big modifiers. I know friends that do, but for me personally, I don't.
Yeah, it's just too much hassle.
Yeah, it is.
I don't. Yeah, me too. I don't want my couple to sit down there, have their champagne, wait for 5 minutes for me to set up the lights, and by that time, the wedding planner is like, "Oh, that's it. We need to get out of here."
She's like, I need them back. So on a wedding day, things move so quickly anyway. And one thing I do for my couples, I love doing, is giving them one sort of really great nighttime creative shot. And I need to be quick with that. I can't keep them more than 5 minutes. They want to get back in there.
Yeah, what I do is I actually just I just leave my AD300Pro on the with the AD5W sort of softbox there on all the time. I just keep that in my car. I'll keep my smaller lights obviously with AD200Pro or AD100Pro in my bag. So whenever I'm going for location, I just ask my assistant to take the whole thing out. So in case I have a chance to use softbox, I will use it. Otherwise, I'll just leave it. By the wedding day, you have to remember it's not a style shoot. Keep that short and keep the experience enjoyable, and so that your clients can attend to their relatives. It's pretty much important as well.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Should I move down to the next amazing?
So the next one is just showing you that the light is really going in on the beach here. So we're kind of like, trying to work blind. So this is another case of building up the light again. You can see one light on the right hand side, and then the second.
It's after. Just to clarify, it's after the sunset, right?
Yes, the sun is already set now. So that orange in the sky is kind of that kind of afterglow of the sun. So that's what we're seeing here. But the sky is still dramatic. It's still beautiful. Yeah. So this for me was like a perfect balance of light, because also another thing is with your light, you don't want to blow out your highlights. You don't want to, and they've got these beautiful sequin shiny outfits, and I want it to be seen. I don't want it to be just like pure white. They've gone to a lot of trouble to, for me, also, I think as a woman as well, I appreciate the effort that they make, like when they come in, that they come.
Exactly.
So I have to put in consideration in that as well, making sure that it looks good. So at this point, I'm really quite happy with how it looked. And this is straight out of the camera. This is completely unedited, this shot right here. So this is, I did this pullback so you could kind of see the way I built the light, and then the two lights set up here. So I like this as well because the spill, and also another point I wanted to make with this was that with the lights, you can notice that they are on two different levels. So this one here, the AD200, is lower so that it captures the client on the right, and then the AD300 is higher, capturing her. So, just the different levels of light there. And so the next one is me. I kept the lights Yeah, go ahead.
Lyndah, sorry, just out of curiosity, if we could go back to the previous shots, would you mind just share with us? I love the fact that the light is, coming from side, because if it's coming from the front, obviously the dress wouldn't be so shiny with all the glows, right?
Yeah.
And because it's so the lights from with an angle actually define the texture and their shapes better, and also make the dress kind of pops.
Yes.
I'm just wondering what's the power output, so people have an indication of how much power they need for this kind of shots.
So I definitely
Just roughly give a hunch.
I think most probably it was on 1/16 because I try and keep it. I don't. It's either it must be on 1/16. I definitely not shooting at full power, and I don't do 1/8 either. So I'll keep it around 1/34, 1/16, and then the darker it gets, then maybe I'll go up to like 1/8. But at this point, with my camera settings, it was most probably on sort of 1/16 of power.
Okay, 1/16. And our friends is asking. He's asking. I think Jerome. He's asking what time of this.
This would at this point have been. We started the shoot at 6:30. So at this point, we're looking at just about 7, or just before 7. So it's about 7 o'clock. And this was in November. So the sun sets. No, was it? Yes, it was definitely 6:30. So yeah, about 6:30. Right. I have to look at my EXIF to be honest, but
no worries. That's all right. Just roughly, because people live in different time zone anyway. Yeah, exactly. Cedric's asking about when you do group shots for different skin tones. Mm-hmm. How would you
I have one rule for shooting when I shoot: expose for the highlights. It doesn't matter what type of tone I expose for the highlights. And if you don't know what that means sort of you exposing for the light up, like when you're looking through your camera viewfinder, you're exposing and looking at that little light meter and exposing for the light part. You don't want to blow anything out, because our cameras are so great now with the dynamic range that we can really sort of bring up the shadows. So I'd rather expose for the highlights than sort of overexpose my pictures and try and bring them down.
Awesome. Do you want to move down to the next slides? And we have a couple questions for you. Sam's is asking your camera lens, but I think you already mentioned that's D850 with 70-200, right?
Yes, that's right. So at this point, I'm getting, as you can see, I'm getting a little closer, and also because the light was going in ambient light, I would most probably be standing a little closer and shooting with my 35 at this point. I have a 35 1.8 Nikon lens that I shoot with. This look, my workhorse. So what I did at this point was I really liked the way the light looked, and all I did was I changed my position. So I came closer to them and more to the left, and then shot up. I got down on the sand and I shot up. I just loved the way that it looked. So that figure to the ground for composition wise, put their heads in the clouds. So this was the very next shot, and I have to say that I kept the light pretty much not moving, just kind of working with the setup as it was. And the main thing was I was just posing them, just having them change their positions.
Yeah, I think that's a great tips, because once you set up lights, your lights, it's perfect. You can use different lenses as well, right? Telescope, wide angle, and you can just change the pose. Exactly. Isn't that? It's just like, so you can deliver multiple images to your clients. And I quite enjoy this one. It's almost like Vanity Fair, sort of very sexy and elegant kind of look. It's just with that dress, it's just amazing.
Thank you. And just that beautiful quality of light, I think is a big winner for me. I remember kind of showing one of them the back of the camera, and she was just like, "Oh my gosh, wow!" So and it looked so good, sort of straight out of camera.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with perfect light's perfect image as well, right? Because when it's light's perfect, people it's very hard to explain, but we all understand. It's just it's so good right out of the camera, and makes your client so happy. It's almost about the client experience. It's so good, and in the post-production session, you only need to minorly tweak a few things, and it's ready to go.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just gonna do. You have to do masking with cutting the subjects out of the background. You can try to highlight, dodge, burning. It's just hours of work, and we all need to take our kids to the swimming class or the classes. We just it's better to use lights.
Yes. So definitely. And then this is just another one, same exact setup, just having them change poses.
Gorgeous. Would you mind just me interrupt? We have a question from GQ Louis.
Do I use a light meter? No, I've never used a light meter. I've never used a light meter. I eyeball my light. I do a test shot, and then I have the X-Pro triggers, so I just up and down, and I have an assistant. She can move or feather the light as I want, and then when I'm happy with it, that's where it stays.
Yeah. I don't use a light meter myself, neither. Just to know that if you need a light meter, Godox does have a collaboration Sekonic light meters, works with Godox lights perfectly. It also supports HSS. So when you are doing HS shots and you need a light meter, this particular Sekonic, I can't remember the I think it's Sekonic 850, but I'm not entirely sure. Just check B&H out or whatever the other distributor out, and it works with Godox lights perfectly. So just to know, if you want a light meter, there's an option for you. That's all.
Okay. Good. So I have a little.
So here's a question about me. That's a StreamYard. That's StreamYard. That's all. Yep.
So I have a little video, just kind of a behind-the-scenes video, a clip, so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I'm going to play, and I know I'm not going to play it from Keynote, right, Aries? Do I play it from my desk?
You can. There's no audio, but you can commentary on it. That's fine.
Okay.
Do you want to give a go? Yep.
Yeah. I'll let me give it a go.
Yep.
All right. So, here we go.
Yeah, we can see it. Oh, there's audio. It's just I think it's audio from your speaker though. That's fine.
You can hear it?
Yeah, the quality is not that amazing, but
so that's going to give us a nice diffuse light on the right side of her face.
So here I'm just talking to my lighting assistant about moving that light, and you can see there is the S85 with the D, and then you can see on the right hand side the AD300. So it just shows you kind of how far away I was compared to where.
I love that shot.
Yeah.
I love that.
So good.
Yeah. So I always show my clients just to give them a little confidence, let them know how great they're doing. So this is me giving some posing direction of her in the water. And so you can see this shot. This is a one light shot. She was in the water and then moved up, and then we had.
I love that shot. Yeah.
There we go. So I want to show the stills. So this is a still of one light with her in the water. And you can see exactly what the setup is right here. And I stepped back to take this shot so that it was like a BTS shot. And then the actual shot that I photographed is this. So this is straight out of camera, no editing at all. This is it. And then with light editing, because there wasn't that much to do. So this was the shot.
I love the picture. I mean, her skin tone, and it's almost analogous color palettes with sands, right? And the shiny dress of hers, and because the flash hits the water, if you look at her left hands, the water reflection is almost like mimicking the shiny dress. Yeah. It creates this very nice harmony between the portrait herself as well as the environment. It just
That's
looks
correct.
gorgeous. Yeah,
Thank,
and it's beautiful triangle, very balanced.
thank you.
So good.
Thank you. So that shoot, that was
Yeah.
so we were coming to the end, and it was literally pitch black at that point. We were using some modeling lights to kind of see things and like that. So we were finishing off, and I wanted to show this particular one because I wanted to show how soft.
Can I interrupt you really quick before we jump into the right one? And here, our user has a question about what ISO, when you were using.
I do have that information. Can I come back to that question? But
sure, no worries.
I know that because the light was just providing everything that I needed, I didn't go too high. I did not go too high.
Okay.
I think I went more than maybe 2400 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do have all the EXIF for all of this.
Sure. All right. Christian says, thanks. This is very informative.
Good.
Everybody loves it.
Great. Thank you. So I put this one in because I wanted to show just how soft the light was, almost like a beauty portrait at night for this. So I put it really close to the softbox, and you can see it's pitch black. And I was able to just capture this sort of soft portrait of her that I just love the way the skin is just
glowing
without and I will say at this point I did increase my white balance. I did warm it up a little bit because I wanted that warm tones. I did.
Yeah.
So
sure. Just wondering is this done by a modeling lamp or this is done by the flash?
The flash was on. This was flash.
Okay. This is flash. Cool.
This was flash.
Yeah. Just thought people out there might be interested. That's all.
Yeah. But that's a good idea. Next time I'll use the modeling lamp, because the modeling lamp you can change the white balance, right? The color balance a little bit. So
yeah. I from time to time use the modeling lamp because lots of time I just do a short video clip for my clients, so they can put in their Instagram story as well, as TikTok, like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, nothing crazy, but but they are very happy, with a bit behind the scenes sort of videos.
That's cool. That's very
cool. So AD300 comes handy when you can use as a modeling lamp or you can use as a light source. So
I know that I've used it as a modeling lamp, and it's, in fact, it was on right now. I'm gonna go and turn itself off. Give me 1 second, Aries.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it just went off. Okay. I had it on as a modeling lamp because it was giving me some illumination.
Yeah, no worries. Craig is asking that what trigger do you use?
I use the X-Pros. They're perfect. They're really good. I'm able to sync channels and groups. That's what I use, and I haven't had any issues with them. So I use X-Pro ends for Nikon.
Yep.
Thank you. So
beautiful.
Thank you. So I'm going to switch. I wanted to show the next couple of slides. I had a small headshot session in studio, and
cool.
It was a white backdrop image, and I used the large octabox with the white diffuser. I think it's a 140 centimeter octabox. It's very big. It's actually the biggest modifier that I've ever owned, and so I used that to, and I'm just going to show you a quick. This is what it looks like, and this is a quick behind the scene of my setup. You can see it right there on the left, and this is my client right there. So we had done, your typical headshots. Got her, and I just want to show just how beautiful the light is, so there's two lights here, I want to say. So the octobox we saw was right here, really close to her, actually, right there. And then I had the umbrella, I think it's the 130 centimeter umbrella. I had that with, you know, the diffuser up on it with another AD300 sort of behind me. Now my space is very small, granted, it's very small, but I wanted to show, so we were shooting and she was really happy. We're shooting tethered. She was looking at the images and very happy with them. So we shot like these three. You can kind of see where the lights are from the catch light in her eyes. And I just love that clean light that I can get in studio. And then one more. And then she asked me, which was really interesting. She showed me a picture from, you know, on Pinterest, something that she had seen for an inspiration, which was a profile of a woman. And she was like, oh, I would really like a shot like this. And I said to her, do you mind if I do my interpretation of a shot like this? Because it was really sort of a picture like this, but just a profile. And she's like, no, go ahead. And so I had just been to the craft store earlier in the day. I picked up some black foam boards. So I picked up one of these, you know, your typical black foam board. And I asked her to stand, I turned off one of the AD300s, the one that was in umbrella. So I had her stand right in front of the octobox. And I stood up really close to her. And then I had, she had a friend with her. I had her hold the foam board right in front of the octobox. And I asked her to stand. So these are behind the scenes shots. So you can see this black, this is the foam board, and this white is the octobox, right? What I was trying to do was get a sliver of light coming through to line, just give her this beautiful room light. So I tried it with this one on the left, and it was just too much. It wasn't quite right there. And I tried it with, this is another shot on the right. I covered the octobox just a little bit more, and it was almost right, not quite. And then once I just pushed, had her friend just slide that foam board, and next thing I know, it was just like this shot was just the perfect shot for me. So
amazing.
That is simply with foam board in front of the large octobox.
Yeah, I love the work, guys. If you guys in front of the video, you wouldn't be able to see the quality of the image. It's amazing. If you look at the skin details, you can almost, you know, see all the skin details there. And if you guys, I guess you guys can check out Lyndah Wells, her Instagram. Her if you can follow her, her Instagram is right there. So you can follow her handles and see all the amazing details, and which is unfortunate that we wouldn't be able to show that in the video. And yeah, great work. And I love this image. when I look at this, I instantly look at, you know, I'm thinking about the Netflix series about the Crown. Remember, there was a post.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but this has some fashion, sort of fashioniness in it, and this has this extra punch in the image. I don't know. I just love this one. And her earrings glowing. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It's the beautiful, and her earring, her necklace, it's just this extra touch, which makes all the difference.
Yeah. So just that little sliver of light coming through to just give her this perfect line of light, and then that beautiful catch light in her eye. And I was very specific when I noticed that if she looked down just a little bit, it wasn't quite the same. She had to look almost just a tiny little bit up for that catch light to sit just well. So, but this was just the power of this. I really love it. And yeah, so it's definitely
cool.
a highlight. So I'm going to move on. And for this, I have a little time lapse. Thank you. So I have a little time lapse video of a shoot that I did here. So Oh,
So before we jump into that, could you answer the question with Martin?
How did you measure the light and where? So
and there's one more question about how do you do the focus, but let's talk about the lights first.
Okay, so how did I measure the light? I had the light on, and we were in a very small space, so the light it was on very low power, maybe 1/34th. And I simply placed her directly in front of the light. I didn't measure it. I measured it by I eyeballed it, really. I knew kind of what I wanted to do, but also I do remember that I did change my aperture on my camera for this because I wanted it like super sharp. I didn't want the focus to drop. So I did change my aperture, but I did not like physically measure the light.
Sure.
And I think he asked another question.
I guess we are the kind of intuitive kind of shooter. Lots of time people say, why don't you just use light meters in the studio? I would say that if light meter works for you, that's great. But for me, I like to just eyeballs. I do that all the time. And if there's something critical, which with the light ratio, I would just use Capture One to measure all the spots there. I just find either way actually works better for me rather than light meter, but it's just personal choice, really. If light meter works for you, that's great too. So
yeah.
How did you focus?
How do I focus? Well, with this shot, it wasn't dark. It looks dark, but it was. You saw the behind the scenes. It was very light in my office, in my studio. It looks dark because there's a black foam board, and also because I increased my aperture, so less light is coming in through, the camera lens. So yeah, but on the beach, how do I focus when it's so dark? Sometimes I use my cell phone flashlight or a modeling lamp to, if I'm losing focus, but yeah. So I'm going to move on to the thank you.
BTS.
Thank you, Vardo. Appreciate you. Thank you. So I'm going to move on. Thank you, Martin. I'm going to move on to the next slide. And the next slide.
Everybody loves Lyndah.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm loving the love. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah. So the next one is it's going to be a time-lapse video of me shooting, and then I'm going to talk about the images. So it was just a cell phone video.
Using the black backdrop. I have two modifiers.
So I'm just talking about what I'm using, that it's a backdrop.
Umbrellas, a gridded.
Oh, it's quite bright. You basically just use the flash to overpower the ambient.
Yeah. So you can see the S85 on the left and the octobox on the right. And then you can see that once I like my light where it's at, I'm not moving it. And then when we change positions, I'm lowering the light and doing different things.
Good call works, Lyndah. I can feel your 6-pack is burning.
So this was all shot with 2 lights. This whole shoot. It's a very quick video, just showing how I shoot and just like the position of my lights. I have them to the side. Keeping her lively.
Great.
All right. All right, so that's time lapse of the shoot, and I'm going to show you kind of with the way I positioned the light exactly sort of how it looked. So the light.
Can I just quickly address a question? So J.L. Williams is saying, if you shoot with a film camera, you have no choice but to use a light meter. I think light meter works great with film camera. I think that's one of the purposes it's designed for. I do hybrid shoot from time to time, just say that there might be an alternative option if you don't have a light meter on your hand when you want to shoot with film. That will be, I'll just use my digital camera as a light meter. I'll just shoot one, just make sure ISO stay the same with the film. Shoot one, get a parameter done correctly, then I'll just take out my film to shoot. That's all. And because it's film camera, it's quite forgiving as well with a dynamic range. So that's how I shoot with my film camera. Just to know that there's another option there.
So this is a straight out of camera shot of the first part of that shoot. Oh, thank you, Amit. Appreciate that.
Here's a question about your, what camera you use. I guess you have fans.
So I have two cameras. My D850, Nikon D850 is my main. My D750 is my second body. So those are the cameras that they're always with me.
Yeah, the dynamic range is amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it's crazy dynamic range.
Yes, I really enjoy the 850.
Yeah.
So,
right.
so this is. I want to show just that quality of the nice light. Now you saw in the little video there was still a lot of light around me. So what I wanted to do, sometimes I dial down because I'm trying to create a mood for the portrait. I didn't want, for this one with a black background, I didn't want it to bright and airy. I kind of just wanted just a soft light on her. So you can see from the catch light on this side of the eye, you can see large light there. And then the other one is sort of way to the side. But it just gives her a nice, you can look at the highlights here on this beadwork on her shoulder. It's not, too blown out. And then it's also, if you look right here, there's also a little bit of hair light on her hair. You can see,
the separation between her and the background. Yeah.
So that's a portrait, and this is straight out of camera, unfinished. And so just an edited shot from one. I chose to kind of go into post, and I added some flair and stuff like that. But I knew that I was looking for this like strong sort of classic kind of portrait for her. So when I was shooting, that's why I kept my ISO low and my aperture high, because I wanted to keep it dark with just the light illuminating her. So I mentioned before, kind of like I have preconceived ideas when I go into shoots. Sometimes they're on the fly, very rarely, but when I'm shooting for clients, we kind of know where we're going with this. So the next shot will be when she sat on the ground, and I put the plants around her, and I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't too much highlight on the metal of these plant pots as well. So, I had her lift her head up and then just have this nice balance of light. I don't mind that the light catches the highlights of these like really shiny plants. But just trying to give, it's different from the beach shoot. It's more a portrait. I'm just trying to celebrate her. It's her birthday and just give her some really strong poses. We move on to the pink background, and I got her to change up and jump around and have fun and laugh and stuff to give her like some fun portraits. But the AD300 for me here is just, I wanted like a pop art feel for this with the pink. I wanted it to be like glossy lips, pink background, shiny hair, and I think I was able to achieve that, and using the 2 modifiers for this. And then I think we have one more like this. There we go. So just giving her, I think the only thing it's missing is like some pink bubble gum blowing out her lips. I think that would be it. But that's using that in studio to create sort of like these sort of bright images.
Sure. I think there's a question for you, Lyndah. Do you think it's necessary to get a AD300Pro?
I saw your unboxing of it, Aries, and and it's so cute, but it's not for me. It's not for what I need in my bag right now. I'm really happy with the wattage I have, with the power outputs that I have. I think if I was newer, newer in the flash game, that it would sit really well for me. But I live in the Bahamas. I have to sometimes overpower a lot of sun. And I don't think that 100-watt, that AD100 100 could do that for me. So I'm not looking to add that to my repertoire. But if I had like a young shooter, if I was like working with somebody new, I would highly recommend that. But for me,
sure. I guess a simple question is, do you use softbox with it, right? Do you come back sun with it? Do you do studio shots with it? If you do those, then you probably need a bigger voltage. Otherwise, if you just run and gun, just dedicate things for wedding or just use them as a fill lights, then sure, go ahead, AD100Pro. So it's just designed for totally different purpose, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah. So, okay. Thank you.
So Lisa is asking you to remind her about light placement
for this particular portrait. So
I think so. I guess so. Yeah.
We have with this. We have the octabox on camera right, and on the camera left was the camera right was the octabox, and camera left was the S85.
Yep.
And so I'm going to move on to a very recent shoot as a branding session that I did for a client that kind of lasted hours. We did lots of looks, lots of different things, and we used multiple lights. The AD300s were the workhorses of the shoot. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. So it was a branding session of a corporate executive, and I just love how I can just take it with me as well. You know, it's like, okay, this is a really good light for location work and moving and still like having enough power. So this was just a shot I want to show, but I'm going to show a little video of how I set up and the placement of lights. And because she was in a glass office, we were really had to be aware of a lot of glare and reflection. So we were very careful with how we position the lights. So this is another quick time-lapse video of me and my assistant.
Oh my God, I love your time-lapse.
putting them together.
So sorry, I have a quirky sense of humor. Put it away. Yeah.
So it's just a lot of setting up and then moving and then testing with my assistant where we were going to position her. So we were testing one spot, moving the light, testing the other. Yeah. And then you'll see her sitting. We change the light, she'll sit down. She's pretending to be the client. And then we also knew we wanted her to, and then just changing the angle. And then the client comes in. So we did all this work before the client comes in, because you don't want them in when they're doing this. All right, so I'm going to move. So there's the client. And you can see the positioning of the light. And then she moves behind her desk. We change the light.
Great.
So, and so that was how we work the lights, changing angles and, you know, feathering, making sure that we're not getting glare and reflection, and we're making sure she's well lit. And this is just a quick shot of a behind the scenes shot, and then this is the shot from there to show, you know.
Guys, you guys need to follow Lyndah's Instagram, because you know, we wouldn't be able to show you the details of the skin tone of the eye catch lights in the image. But did you guys notice that she adding a reflector? Oh, the catch light is just a beautiful fine touch in her eyes. You know.
Yes, thank you.
It's just so good. You guys have to check her out with her social media.
Thank you. So, and also, that glass, we were trying to make sure that the reflection wasn't in it, whilst making sure she stood out. So we photographed her in various rooms in the building, and the next one we kind of moved into the boardroom, and I wanted a boardroom shot, but I wanted it a little bit playful, so we sat her on the actual table, and I have a light positioned right here. You can see the little fall off on the wall here. So we kept the same two lights. So we had the octabox and the 85, the S85. So the octabox was placed here, and you can see on all the highlight down her arm, up there, chin. And then we had another light off camera, kind of over here, giving that fill, so that we was very aware of shadowing under her eyes and things like that. So
because it's oh, just by the way, I love the color palettes. The complementary color palettes, just beautiful.
Thank you.
We have a question from Cedric, our user. He's asking about would you consider buying 8600 at any time?
Absolutely, yeah, I would consider that. I would consider it because I think for me, number one is portability is really my thing. I travel so much, and if I can't take it with me, it's dead weight, So if I had an AD600, it would be a studio strobe. It would not be moving with me. And of course, in that case, yes, I would love more power. So I would consider it, but it would be for a studio to stay solid. Yeah.
But love your profile picture, Cedric. I would imagine 8600 wouldn't be an issue with you, with all the muscle you're carrying with you, mate. He looks like three times of my size. I wouldn't imagine there's any issue. And Jeff is asking you about more than one catch light on the eyes.
It's a personal preference. You can, of course, you can have one. If you look at a lot of images, you can look closely. I think you'll see either reflectors or fill cards or stuff. There will be one, but I think with that portrait that I showed 2 slides, well, the slide before with the reflector as a catch light down there, it does
gorgeous.
Yeah, I like that. So I think it's a personal preference, right? As long as they don't look like aliens or something like that.
Exactly. As long as it's not double pupil.
Cedric says his quarantine weight.
No, it's I think it's probably the 300. It's all the 3,000 push-up you do every day, man. It's I had another look. It's nothing with the quarantine, man.
Closer to, I see that.
It's with the 2,000 kilos push-up you did. That makes all the difference.
So I'm gonna.
Sorry. One more question, Lyndah. Everybody loves you. And what's the best softbox that's easy for setup travel with 8300 or 400? What's your advice?
Okay, I'm gonna say I love the softbox. I think that S85 really just hits the spot for me. I do have the 65, which also acts like a beauty dish, but I do like a slightly larger modifier. I also like the way that the rings that slot in, it's a twist in, and it's I like that. So for me, like if I could pick one modifier to move to travel with, like he asked, it would be that
85.
It's a sweet spot for me.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a nice balance between size and the quality of lights. When you think of it, 85 sounds a lot extra comparing it's 86.5, 65, but in real life it's not. It's so tiny. It's so tiny.
Tiny. It's tiny. Like I think it acts. like a beauty dish almost as well. It's sort of, you know, that circumference. So gonna move on to the next slide, which is they had this wall on the stairs that had limitless possibilities that I loved. I was like, oh, we have to take a photo here. So initially I started off by positioning one light at the top of the stairs, but it was completely in the wrong place. The shadows like fell really harshly kind of to this side. It didn't sit well with me. So I had my assistant come behind me and sort of hold the light up. And so we could give her more straight on directional light so that the shadows could fall behind her. So if the light is high, like the sun, and down, the shadows fall down, which was perfect, nice balance on this wall, because the wall is also, you know, we're showcasing that as well. And then we moved into, there's a warehouse section of the shoot, and I wanted some photos that just showed her. She's kind of sitting on a crane, a lifting sort of crane machine here. So what I did with this was, you can see behind, it's a warehouse, and it was in complete darkness. So what I did was I actually placed a light further back, about 6 feet back. The light was, I placed the AD300 behind with the S85 back there to light this, because I wanted it seen, but I put the power on really low, right? And then in front here, I placed the octabox. So it's just kind of layering the light, because otherwise it would have just been sort of like black space behind her. And then sort of,
we will have some context. That way people know.
Exactly.
You know,
so I wanted to,
the purpose.
that she's in a warehouse. And then we sort of moved over here, just as like a nice clean shot. Also, we want to highlight the fact that, you know, what she does is that she's dealing in hardware. So it wasn't a case of like, I wanted that illuminated as well. So just had her pose, you know, very casually there, had a light. We had 2 lights for this actually. So we had one, pardon me, that was behind me on the octabox, and then we actually put a AD200, because we'd been shooting at this point for maybe like 3 hours, and so at this point one of the AD300s, the batteries went, so we had an AD200, even though they share the same battery. But I had an idea to kind of do use it bare, so we kind of put it there, and I didn't put it here, but what it did was it went right through all these frames and gave really nice shadows to the wall behind. And that was one of the photos that we used. I didn't put it on this presentation, and it was like a happy mistake, because I tried to use it first with her and I didn't like it, and I thought I had turned it off, and it wasn't off. And every time I was shooting, there was this beautiful like shadow kept coming up, and then I realized it was that, so we kept it. So I got to say, the battery power, it did us well. So we still had one going, and so we finished off the shoot. We took her outside the building, and so now we use one AD300 with the octabox, with the 140 octabox with the grid at this point, and it was, the sun is setting. You can see the reflection actually of the sun kind of right here. And I just had her come really close to me. And I shot this, I think either with my, I think it was my 24, either my 24 or my 35, because I wanted a wide angle shot. And I bent down, went low, so that the building could be like right behind her. So she's up close to me, and just that really nice light. I love the fact that you can still see like the reflection of the lights inside the building, and she's really well illuminated. It was slightly camera left. You can see a little bit of shadowing from the eyelash right there, but just this nice even fall off on her, which was great. And
I love this image. It's it's a simple, but yet it's an image with lots of details, right? Because if you look at the stairs, it's almost like framing her, and her arm, the way she's holding her arm, it's like the shape is kind of have this harmony with the stairs, right? And with the background, it's very interesting. It reflects the beautiful cloud, right? So we know it's outdoor shot, and yet the light is coming through the window, so we know that it's still her office. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah. So it ended really well. I know she was very tired.
Money shot.
She was very tired at the end of it, but I was like, we just have a few more and then I'll be done. Like the photographer's always asking, just one more shot.
Yeah, I know. I do that all the time.
So
there was once when I say I love your image, I truly love your image from all at the bottom of my heart, because I did lots of sunset image. There was one time we did sunset. I was keep on dragging. I said one last shot, and all of a sudden there's rising tide. We all get we all get kept up in the little island. And I have to carry my gears like this. I was so afraid I'm going to fall, and I can kiss all my camera and the lights goodbye. Oh my gosh!
Oh wow! Yeah, but
I actually had a stylist with me. She didn't talk to me for the next 3 weeks. I was like, she's like, this is crazy. So, don't call me.
I don't blame her.
Short very pissed. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, but that we have that problem as photographers. It's always one more shot, and
I know.
So
I know.
saying to her, and like at this point, what aperture did I use? I didn't pull up my exit for this, but at this point, with the light going and the flash, I would have been shooting maybe. I'm trying to think, because I'm looking at that fall off as well, but I was still I think I shot this with my 24, and it would definitely be above 5.6, maybe even 9. I'm not sure. It was to get her completely in focus. I didn't want any sort of mistakes at this point. And then I'm going to show you kind of a placement of light. This is just a very blurry picture of me. I moved her to the side. I do have another shot with her at an angle, but I just wanted to show you my modifier and the light that we were using to create these images. So we're finishing off. You can see me down there shooting low so that she looks high and more powerful. And right there, making sure, just getting another one that the business, the name of the business, you can sort of see that. When I was hired for this job, the brief was to create bold branding images for, a very successful businesswoman. So I was like, lots of pressure to try and to do this. I know we were all like really happy. So thank you. So we're almost finishing up, and yes, so this was one light, one AD300, that beautiful octobox, that's that large light source, just wrapping around her, and just balance with the ambient, because I didn't light the background. Just balance with that ambient to just finish off, and I think we just have one more. Which is this, which was a full body shot. So this was kind of what you saw, the behind the scenes picture, and it sort of lit her whole body, top to bottom, and you can still see sort of the office in the back. So that's pretty much it. Oh, she looks powerful. She does look powerful.
She's very powerful. I love the gesture, with her hand holding my.
Yeah, and I do give a lot of posing direction. Something that I've learned to do more and more. It's just my clients feel comfortable when I do that, and I know what's going to look good in photographs. So it's just a win-win. Telling them, just suggesting, like, put your arms here, cross your legs, pose, lean forward, or things like that. So it's you know, what we photographers do to get like amazing photographs. Yeah.
Keep on trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you
yeah, go ahead.
No, you go first.
No, you go first.
Now I'm just saying that. Do you want to move down to the next page so that people, guys, we only talk about Lindah's portrait work, and just be mindful that she's an amazing wedding photographer as well. And so if you guys are interested in more off-camera flash works, she has tons of beautiful work. Just check her out with her, you know, Instagram, YouTube, as well as Facebook. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So they do. I am primarily a wedding photographer. I love creating. You know, I live in the Bahamas, and people come here, and they come here for the water, the sun, the weather, the friendly people. So when I shoot weddings, I do try and incorporate that into the photos, especially into the bridal portraits. I do make sure it focuses a little bit, you know, on where they are. I really enjoy doing what I do. I'm blessed because I wasn't actually I wasn't a photographer when I moved to the Bahamas. You know, I kind of fell into photography, and it's something that I've developed a huge passion for, and I just really enjoy what I do. It's been a blessing for me to be able to do that, to do what I do. Yeah.
All right, we're just going to answer this one last question. No. What? Okay, that's irrelevant with the talk today. So there's no further question. Thank you so much, Lyndah. And guys, stay safe.
Yes.
And I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you for watching.